Today's short video is about how do you deal with your difficult parents. My name's Kute Blackson, nationally best-selling author of You Are the One. As human beings, we are all born and we all have parents. Maybe we don't have two parents, but we all at least have one parent. And even if we didn't know our parents, we were born to parents. This is just the nature of being human. Maybe you didn't have the parents that you wanted to have. Maybe your parents were mean, maybe they were abusive, maybe they were difficult, maybe they abandoned you, maybe they weren't around. Maybe you hate your parents, maybe you love your parents. Wherever you are on the spectrum, often we've all experienced moments in our lives where we faced challenges, difficulties with our parents. We butted heads, we had difference of opinions, we wish that they were a certain way, they wish we were a certain way. And so no matter who we are as human beings, we can all understand that at moments our relationship with our parents can be some of the most amazing but also challenging relationships on the planet. It's often said, if you want to see how evolved you are, how spiritual you are, how much you've grown, just go spend a weekend with your parents and you'll see where you're at. Because somehow, it's crazy, our parents, they just know the exact button to push to piss us off, to trigger you, to upset you, and you thought you were doing great. So no matter where you are with your relationship with your parents, I have a few simple keys, a few simple ideas to share with you. For the longest time, I had many challenges with my father, and over the years have turned that around. And these are some simple keys that have helped me. First and foremost, your parents are not perfect human beings. They are just human beings. They are souls on the journey of life. Whether they're aware of it or not, they are souls incarnated much like you into the human experiences with their own soul lessons to learn, dealing with those lessons, working through those lessons. They may not be conscious, they may not be aware, they may not be even actively working to heal themselves, but they have their own lessons to learn. And ultimately your parents are doing the best that they can do based on their life, based on their conditioning, based on their childhood, based on their parents, based on everything that they've been through. And unless they're evolving, growing and learning and healing themselves, they're likely going to play out all of the unresolved wounds, patterns, issues passed down from generations and also from their childhood. And likely what will happen is that they will act those out, play that out, and relate to you based on that conditioning without even being conscious. They're not even aware. So that's why I say that from their own hurt, they may have hurt you when you were younger as children and likely may not have given you what you deeply needed. The truth is they may not even have known how to give you what you deeply most needed at that particular moment of their lives. They weren't capable. So realize your parents are souls on a journey. See them as souls on a journey. They are not perfect people. And when you really let that touch you, hopefully it can open some compassion to them as well, for some mercy for their journey in this lifetime. Many times as children, we see our parents as these almighty figures, as these perfect figures, and they're not. They're just trying to figure stuff out. They're just dealing with their lives. They're just as stuck as you are or were. You start shifting your relationship with your parents inside of yourself. So coming from a place of compassion, it's not about condoning them. It's not about, because maybe they did do some things that weren't okay and they haven't apologized. The challenge is this: if you wait for them to apologize to you, if you wait for them to take responsibility, if you wait for them, then you end up carrying that anger, that pain, that hurt, that resentment, that shame with you. And not only do you give them power over you and your heart and your life, when we often hold on to the pain, the anger, the resentment, we often repeat the cycle of what was done to us in our lives and with our children. The greatest gift you can give yourself, the power move, is to actually set them free, is to forgive them, is to recognize that their souls on their journey doing the best that they could do at that time. Unlikely, you see, unlikely, I mean, there might be exceptions to the rule. Unlikely did your parents sit down with some grand master plan. Unlikely did your parents sit down and think about and plan and strategize all the ways that they might hurt you, upset you, not be there for you, not meet your needs, piss you off, abuse you, screw you up. Unlikely. They were just where they were, doing the best that they could do at the time. And maybe the best that they could do was not what you needed. I understand. Realize they were on their journey and make a decision to forgive them. Forgiving them doesn't condone them, but it sets you free out of the cycle of the relationship with them, so that you can actually create a different relationship in your life. Your parents might be dead, you might say. Even if your parents are dead, many times what's important is the relationship that you have with your parents within your own self. The real relationship is not just with them in the physical or with them, from the other side, but the relationship with your parents within yourself, how you feel about them within yourself, how you feel about yourself as it relates to them. That's the key. The forgiveness sets you free. The other thing I would say for you to consider is that you actually had the perfect parents for your own soul's growth and evolution. If life is about your soul's growth and evolution, and then we incarnate to grow and evolve, we incarnate with lessons we are here to learn. We incarnate because life is a school for our own soul's evolution. Then your parents were your greatest teachers, gurus, and mentors. Your parents were your spiritual gurus. Your parents were your teachers. Your parents were your professors to assist you in learning lessons that you needed to learn in your lifetime for your own soul. What if your soul actually chose your parents? Maybe not consciously, of course. What if your soul chose your parents? So consider that you had the perfect parents so that if you didn't have those parents, if you didn't have them, if they didn't do what they did, you wouldn't be who you are. And there's a good likelihood that what you're doing now in your life, because many times your pain can become your purpose, what you're doing now in your life might be connected to something you experienced with your parents growing up, might be connected, something that they did or they didn't do affected you in a way, triggered you in a way that set you on a course that if it wasn't that way, you wouldn't be who you are today. So I'm not saying it was right. I'm not saying it was okay. But consider that for your soul's growth and evolution, you had the perfect parents that somehow prepared you to be doing what you're doing, prepared you to be living your purpose right now. Bless them. Thank them. So consider this. With that said, your parents today owe you nothing. To truly shift your relationship with your parents, no matter how difficult it is, you have to give up blame. You have to give up being right. But Kute, I'm right. You have to give that up. Otherwise, there will be no room for them to show up differently. Otherwise, you will keep finding excuses and reasons to put them into a box so that you can be right. If you want to be free, if you want to shift your relationship with your parents, you have to give up being right. You have to give up being right. What are you getting out of making them wrong? What are you getting out of being right today? Your parents owe you nothing. The way I see it is, even though they weren't the perfect parents, even though they did do what they did, what cannot be denied is they gave you the gift of life. And so here's what I would say. Regardless of what your relationship is with your parents is today, honor their souls. That's right. Maybe they're still toxic. Maybe they're still abusive, and you can't be in relationship with them in the way that you would like to. Honor their souls. What does that look like? Bless them. You may have to bless them from afar. You might have to bless them in your prayers and your meditations. Bless them. There is something that happens when you bless your parents and honor their souls for the gift of life. It's almost as though, spiritually speaking, you activate the blessing of your ancestors. Bless them for your soul's lesson and journey with them, and the contract your soul had with them, and the fact that they were the vessels that brought you into this lifetime. Second thing I want you to get: accept your parents. One of the things that keeps us stuck in continuing a difficult relationship with our parents is we don't accept them. We're constantly resisting what they are, judging what they are, wanting them to be some other way. Your parents are what they are. Likely, they were this way before you were born. Resisting what your parents is usually just keeps you stuck, and what you resist tends to persist. This is what they are, but Kute, they shouldn't be this way. Kute, why is she always saying this? Kute, this is what she is. This is what he is. Accept your parents. A profound thing happens when you bring yourself into deep acceptance of what they are. Either they will change. Boom. They'll change magically. Or it might mean you have to renegotiate, recalibrate, reflect on what you need to do to shift your relationship with your parents, which might mean you're not around them as much. We're often fighting one of the reasons I found that we sometimes resist our parents, constantly wanting them to be different, wanting them to change, is because we're afraid if I really accept my mom or my dad as they are, I won't be able to be around them. Or it might bring up a deep feeling of grief or sadness for that little boy or little girl inside of you, because there's a realization that they're not able, or you're not going to get what that little boy or girl inside of you really wanted. Like, you're going to have to give that up. You may never have the relationship that you really wanted with your parents. That can bring up grief. If you feel grief in the acceptance, accept the grief, allow the grief, feel the grief, let it go. What you are doing is you're letting go of the relationship that you thought you should have had with them, so that you can actually, and letting that die, so that you can open to the relationship that you're able to have with them. Because many times when we want what we want, when we want them to be a certain way, we're not able to receive what they are actually able to give us. And maybe they're not able to give you what you needed or wanted, but they are able to give you something. And by holding on to what they should be giving you, you end up missing what they are able to give you, and you don't have a relationship with them at all. When I did this with my father, and I just accepted him as he was, he softened, I softened. He started showing up differently. He started loving differently. And even though he still is what he is, we have a beautiful relationship today for what it is. And it's been a gift. Don't waste your years. Don't waste your precious time with your parents. You don't know how long you'll have with them. You don't know how much longer they're going to be alive. Somehow we assume they'll be around forever, and many parents end up dying, leaving us, leaving kids, leaving their children with such profound guilt and regret, because we thought we had so much more time with them. You don't. Don't waste the precious time that you have with them, where you could be building memories and relationship with them, wishing they were someone that they weren't when they're right in front of you. Because when they're gone, you'll be wishing that you had them exactly as they were now. Make the most of what you have. And ask yourself finally, what are the lessons that my parents, what are the lessons that their soul is here to teach my soul? When you learn those lessons, you stop focusing on the little details. You stop focusing on the surface disagreements. And you start focusing on the deeper soul lessons that frees you up. You see them as your teacher. Your relationship with them shifts. And even if your relationship with them is difficult, you transform your relationship with them to be one of growth and evolution, which can free you up to relate to them in a whole different way. What are the lessons that your parents are here to teach you in your lifetime? Folks, you have the perfect parents for you. And if life is a school, They are your teachers, and you are also theirs. I hope you enjoyed this short video blog. Do me a favor, folks. Go to my website, kuteblackson.com. Enter your name and your email to receive free gifts there. If you haven't read my book, check it out. You Are the One, available on Amazon. Also, Instagram, Facebook. I'll see you there. Until then, share this video with someone you love. Big hugs. See you soon. Love now.